Have you ever felt uneasy around someone? Like their words don't match their actions? Or their presence just feels off? Maybe they smile at you, but deep down you sense something isn't right. These aren't just coincidences or random gut feelings. Often, they are signs of something deeper, behaviors that Stoic philosophy warns us about. In life, we encounter all kinds of people, and while most are good and well-meaning, there are those whose actions, intentions, or character can harm us if we're not careful. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic thinkers, said, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy, but before we can rise above harmful people, we must first learn to recognize them." In this video, we'll explore 7 clear signs that reveal an evil person might be around you. And no, we're not talking about movie villains or over-the-top bad guys. We're talking about subtle, everyday behaviors that, if ignored, can disrupt your peace, waste your energy, and even affect your life in ways you might not expect. But this isn't about pointing fingers or spreading fear. It's about awareness. It's about protecting your mind, your emotions, and your well-being. Because the more you understand these signs, the better you can navigate the world with wisdom and strength. So, sit back and stay with me until the end, because what you're about to learn could change the way you see the people around you, and maybe even save you from unnecessary pain. What Stoicism teaches about evil. Evil isn't always dramatic. In Stoic philosophy, it's not about villains or grand betrayals. It's about ignorance, selfishness, and a lack of virtue. Marcus Aurelius said, "The wrongdoer is often a victim of their own ignorance." This means that people who harm others often don't even realize the damage they cause. To the Stoics, evil comes from actions rooted in qualities like greed, dishonesty, and arrogance. These actions may not always seem harmful at first, but they can drain your energy, disrupt your peace, and take you off your path. That's why it's so important to recognize these patterns. It's not about judging or labeling people as evil. It's about being aware of harmful behaviors so you can protect your peace and live according to your values. Seneca, another great Stoic, advised us to associate with people who are likely to improve you. The people around you shape your life. If you're surrounded by those who act out of selfishness or ignorance, it can hold you back. But remember, Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control. You can't change others, but you can manage how you respond to them. You can set boundaries, distance yourself, and focus on your growth. Now, let's uncover the 7 signs of evil people around you. By learning to spot these traits, you can protect yourself and keep moving forward with clarity and strength. Let's dive in. Sign 1. They manipulate emotions. Have you ever encountered someone who just seems to know how to push your buttons, making you feel guilty, uncomfortable, or even like you owe them something? They might flatter you when they want something from you, or they might try to make you feel bad when you set a boundary or say no. This is one of the clearest signs that you're dealing with a toxic person. Someone who uses emotional manipulation to control and get what they want, regardless of how it impacts you. It doesn't always start with big, obvious requests. Sometimes it's the small things. Maybe they ask for a favor, but the way they phrase it makes you feel like a bad person if you don't help. Or they'll drop comments like, "I thought we were friends," or "I can't believe you're doing this to me." These phrases are designed to make you feel guilty. Guilty for wanting to say no, guilty for having your own needs, or guilty for prioritizing your time and energy over theirs. These people know how to manipulate your emotions and create a sense of obligation, even if you haven't done anything wrong. The real danger here is that this emotional manipulation often works because it plays on your natural desire to be liked, to be helpful, or to avoid conflict. And over time, it becomes easy to give in, to say yes when you don't want to, or to go along with things just to keep the peace. But here's where Stoicism comes in. Stoic philosophy teaches us to stay firm in our values and not let others dictate how we feel or what we do. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus wisely said, "No person has the power to upset you unless you allow it." Think about that for a second. No one can make you feel guilty unless you allow them to. Emotional manipulation works because we give it power. And the moment you realize what's happening, you take back control. Recognize that their emotional games aren't about you. They're about them trying to get their way, Next time you find yourself feeling that uncomfortable pull, ask yourself, is this about me or is this about them? It's important to remember that you have the right to say no, to set boundaries, and to protect your peace. Stoicism encourages us to focus on what we can control: our actions, our responses, and our emotions. And we don't have to allow anyone to manipulate us into doing things that don't serve our values or our well-being. So, when you spot emotional manipulation, don't let it take root. Stand firm. Remember, as a Stoic, your peace is your responsibility. And no one, no matter how persuasive or manipulative, can take that away unless you allow it. Sign 2. They thrive on chaos. You know that one person who always seems to be in the middle of drama? No matter where they go, there's always some kind of conflict or tension surrounding them. It's as if they can't stand peace or calm for too long. They stir up problems, create confusion, and then sit back to watch the mess unfold, almost like they're enjoying it. These are the people who thrive on chaos. Maybe it's a coworker who constantly gossips, fueling tension between team members, or a friend who always starts arguments over nothing, just to keep things interesting. They might even provoke disagreements when things are going well, just to bring people into their whirlwind of drama. The worst part? They don't care who gets hurt as long as they stay at the center of attention. For the Stoics, this behavior is something to avoid. Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic philosopher and Roman emperor, reminded us time and time again to stay above petty conflicts. His advice: don't get drawn into other people's chaos. Instead, focus on maintaining your own peace. Why? Because chaos is draining. It wastes your energy, it clouds your judgment, and it takes away from what you could be focusing on: growth, purpose, and living virtuously. It's like being pulled into a storm. The longer you stay, the more you lose yourself in it. And remember, the Stoics believed that we can't control other people's actions, but we can control how we respond. So, if you notice someone in your life creating chaos, whether it's at work, in your friendships, or even within your family, ask yourself, is this person adding value to your life, or are they just dragging you into their drama? The Stoics would urge you to step back, disengage, and preserve your peace. There's power in not getting involved. Stay focused on your own life, your goals, and your peace of mind. Don't let someone else's chaos become your burden. Sign 3. They lack empathy. Let me ask you something. Have you ever been around someone who seems completely indifferent to how others are feeling? They could be your friend, your family member, or even someone you work with. But when things go wrong, they just don't seem to care about the hurt or struggles others are going through. This is one of the most telling signs of a person who might not just be difficult, they could be toxic. People who lack empathy have a hard time putting themselves in others' shoes. They might not understand, or, even worse, simply don't care about the impact of their actions on those around them. For example, think about that person who always dismisses your problems or acts like they don't matter. You could be going through something important in your life, a tough time at work, a personal loss, and they act like it's no big deal, or they quickly change the subject to something that benefits them. It's as if your emotions and experiences are invisible to them. This behavior is a clear sign of emotional distance, and it can be draining. Stoic philosophers like Epictetus often taught that we should strive to live with empathy and compassion because, in their view, those are essential virtues that help us build meaningful relationships. But what happens when you're around someone who constantly ignores or dismisses those virtues? It can leave you feeling empty, unheard, and unsupported. In Stoicism, we're reminded that we should give our time and energy to people who bring out the best in us, not to those who take advantage of our kindness. If you're around someone who lacks empathy, it's important to recognize the harm they can cause without even realizing it. And most importantly, you need to protect your own emotional well-being. If you're dealing with someone who shows no concern for others, it's essential to set boundaries. Don't invest your energy in trying to make them care. Instead, focus on the relationships that nurture you, the people who do show up, listen, and understand. Remember, it's not your job to change anyone's behavior. The Stoics understood this. They believed that it's our job to control our reactions, not to fix or change others. If someone is emotionally unavailable or detached, The best thing you can do for yourself is to distance yourself from their negativity and invest your time in people who truly value you. Sign 4. They lie and deceive. Lying is one of the most dangerous signs of an evil person, and it often shows up in ways that are easy to overlook. It's not always the bold, dramatic lies you expect. Sometimes it's in the little things, the small, seemingly harmless deceptions that add up over time. These are the people who twist the truth just enough to get what they want, making it hard to see their true intentions. Maybe it's that friend who constantly tells you they're too busy to hang out, but you know from social media that they're out doing something else. Or it could be a colleague who always shifts the blame onto others when things go wrong, making you feel like you're responsible for their mistakes. The thing about lies is that they destroy trust, the foundation of any healthy relationship. Without trust, no matter how close you think you are to someone, the bond will always be fragile. The problem with a lie is that it doesn't just hurt in the moment. It plants doubt in your mind, makes you question everything that person says, and makes it harder for you to trust anyone else. That's the danger. Once trust is broken, it's difficult to rebuild, and even the smallest lie can chip away at that foundation. In Stoic philosophy, truth and honesty are the bedrock of a virtuous life. As Epictetus said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This means that while someone's lies can shake your sense of security, it's your reaction that determines how much power they hold over you. When you're confronted with a lie, you can't control what the other person says, but you can control your response. Do you allow their dishonesty to disturb your peace, or do you acknowledge it for what it is and distance yourself from the manipulation? Lying is a tool used by evil people to manipulate reality, to create a world where they can control the narrative. They twist the facts to make you doubt your own instincts, your perception of what's real. They want you confused, unsure, so they can take advantage of you without you even realizing it. But the Stoics teach us to stay grounded in the truth. They remind us that the truth is always in our control, even if others try to bend it. So when you face someone who lies to you, remember, you don't need to get caught up in their web of deceit. The best thing you can do is to protect your own peace by distancing yourself from people who lack respect for the truth. Don't let their lies make you feel small, unsure, or powerless. Trust in your own judgment, stand firm in what you know is right, and let their falsehoods fall away like water off a duck's back. You are the one who controls your response, and by doing so, you maintain your dignity and your peace of mind. Sign 5. They are excessively arrogant. One of the most dangerous signs of an evil person is arrogance. These people act as if they're superior to everyone around them, and they make it clear that they believe their opinions, their actions, and their choices are always right. They dismiss others as insignificant, belittle anyone who disagrees with them, and refuse to acknowledge that anyone else might have a point of view worth considering. Think about that person in your life who always needs to be the center of attention, who can't stand to be wrong and will argue endlessly just to prove they're right. Whether it's a friend, coworker, or even a family member, they dominate conversations and never let others speak without interruption. At first, it might just seem like confidence, but over time, you'll realize it's more than that. It's a refusal to listen, a complete disregard for other people's feelings and ideas. They can't admit their mistakes, and they certainly don't believe anyone else has the right to be better, smarter, or more successful than they are. The Stoics were clear about the dangers of arrogance. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoics, wrote about how we should see everyone as equals, no matter their status or position. He taught that arrogance only leads to isolation and misunderstanding. Instead, humility is a sign of strength. When someone is excessively arrogant, it's a sign that they don't value the wisdom or opinions of others. They're too caught up in their own image. And the problem with that is, the more they inflate their own sense of importance, the more they devalue everyone else around them. This creates toxic environments where no one feels safe to share their thoughts or feel appreciated. So what can we do about it? The Stoics teach us that we must remain grounded in our own values. Recognize arrogance for what it is, an insecurity disguised as confidence, and don't let it affect your peace of mind. Surround yourself with people who listen, who consider different perspectives, and who are humble enough to grow and learn from others. In the end, The arrogant person is the one who remains small, while those who live with humility grow, learn, and thrive. Sign 6. They exploit kindness. There are certain people in life who see your kindness as an opportunity to take advantage of you. They don't give anything in return, and they make no effort to. They recognize that you are generous, that you are willing to help, and they take full advantage of that. Whether it's asking for favors over and over or borrowing money without ever intending to pay it back, they use your good nature as a tool for their own benefit. They know that you'll say yes, that you won't turn them down, so they keep coming back. And the worst part? They don't even try to reciprocate. Imagine a friend who always needs something, your time, your resources, or your energy. But when you ask for something in return, they act distant or make excuses. It's not just that they're unreliable. It's that they're intentionally exploiting your generosity. They have no real interest in giving back. They only see you as a resource for their own needs. And over time, this behavior can leave you feeling drained, used, and unappreciated. The Stoics understood this dynamic well. While they taught the value of generosity, they also warned about the dangers of giving to those who are not deserving. Seneca, a wise Stoic philosopher, often spoke about how important it is to be selective about where we invest our time, resources, and energy. Generosity should never be about pleasing others or expecting nothing in return. It should come from a place of virtue, but it must also be grounded in wisdom. If you constantly find yourself giving and never receiving, it might be time to take a step back and evaluate the situation. The Stoics would advise us not to close ourselves off completely, but to be discerning. We must protect ourselves from those who will take advantage of our kindness. It's not about being mean or selfish. It's about maintaining your sense of peace and emotional well-being. Healthy boundaries are a key part of Stoic philosophy. When someone starts taking too much, it's important to recognize the signs and set limits. It's okay to say no. In fact, it's necessary for your own mental and emotional health. When you allow people to exploit your kindness without giving anything in return, you're not just doing them a disservice, you're also doing yourself one. So, remember, kindness is a strength, but don't let anyone see it as a weakness to exploit. Protect your peace, and only give to those who truly appreciate it and return the favor when the time comes. If someone's actions don't align with your values, it's okay to walk away. Your time, energy, and kindness are valuable, and the Stoics remind us that it's our responsibility to protect them. Sign 7. They avoid responsibility. Have you ever been around someone who never seems to own up to their mistakes? No matter what happens, they always find a way to shift the blame onto someone else. If something goes wrong, it's never their fault. It's always because of someone else's actions or circumstances outside of their control. This is one of the clearest signs that someone may not have your best interests at heart. People like this refuse to take responsibility for their actions, and it can be incredibly frustrating to deal with them. They'll never admit when they've done something wrong, and they'll always make excuses for their behavior. Instead of learning from their mistakes, they're more focused on making sure they don't get blamed. Think about it. How many times have you had to clean up after someone else's mess, only to have them act like nothing happened? Maybe you've had a colleague at work who constantly blames others when a project falls apart, or a friend who can't take responsibility for their actions, no matter how much it affects you. The problem with people who avoid responsibility is that they never grow. They never learn from their mistakes because they're too busy pointing fingers. In Stoicism, we're taught that true strength lies in owning up to our mistakes, learning from them, and doing better next time. Marcus Aurelius himself wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." People who avoid responsibility are not interested in growth or self-improvement. They're stuck in a cycle of denial, and that's something we must avoid. It's not about being perfect. It's about being accountable. So, if you're dealing with someone like this, it's time to set boundaries. Don't allow them to drag you into their blame game. You don't need to carry their weight. Focus on your own actions and let them be responsible for theirs. Because, as the Stoics teach, the only thing we can truly control is ourselves. And that's where our energy should go, toward our own growth and accountability, not cleaning up someone else's mess. Practical Stoic strategies to protect yourself. Dealing with people who exhibit these toxic behaviors can be exhausting, but the good news is that you have the power to protect yourself. Let's talk about some practical Stoic strategies to handle these situations while staying calm and grounded. First, set clear boundaries. People who manipulate or exploit you will push as far as you let them. That's why it's essential to know where your limits are and stick to them. Say no when something doesn't feel right. And remember, you don't owe anyone an explanation for protecting your peace. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Second, practice emotional indifference. Not everyone deserves your emotional energy. If someone tries to provoke you or bring chaos into your life, don't give them the reaction they're looking for. Stay calm, breathe, and remind yourself that their behavior reflects who they are, not who you are. In Stoicism, this is called keeping your inner citadel intact, meaning nothing external should disturb your inner peace. Third, surround yourself with virtuous people. The company you keep has a massive impact on your mental state. Seek out people who inspire you, who challenge you to grow, and who genuinely care about your well-being. As Seneca said, associate with those who will make a better man of you. If someone's behavior consistently drains you, it's a sign they don't belong in your life. Lastly, focus on what you can control. You can't change toxic people, but you can control how you respond to them. Every time you choose peace over conflict, you're living in alignment with Stoic philosophy. By applying these strategies, you can safeguard your mind and maintain your well-being, no matter who's around you. Before we finish, I want to take a moment to ask you for something really simple. If you found this video helpful and feel like it gave you some real insights into protecting your peace, do me a favor and hit that like button. It's a small gesture, but it makes a huge difference in helping more people discover this content and learn how to spot toxic behaviors in their lives. If you haven't subscribed yet, now is the perfect time. By subscribing, you'll stay connected to all the upcoming videos packed with Stoic wisdom and actionable advice designed to help you live a better, more peaceful life. But here's what I really want to hear from you. Drop a comment below and share which of these signs resonated with you the most. Have you encountered any of these toxic behaviors in your life? How did you handle them? I always love hearing your thoughts and experiences, and it's great when we can all learn from each other. Remember, your peace of mind and emotional well-being are worth protecting, so never be afraid to distance yourself from negative influences. Stay strong, stay wise, and keep growing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, take care of yourself and those who truly matter to you.